say. Fuck. Actually, this isn't even an NA one. This is going to be AA.
This is kind of yeah. This is a good thing. So welcome to a very special episode of the Old Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about movies that contain the very lovable, very cute, very destructive, yet affectionate ferret.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not hard because there really aren't many movies that actually use ferrets well. So
yeah, we're not going to be talking about any, we're not going to be talking about the horrific things going on in the world. We're not talking about Russia or Putin or death and destruction or war. Or we're just going to talking about cute ferrets.
Dude, if we gave Putin a ferret, I feel like he would stop. Like, he would be like, all right, this is stupid. I'm just going to play with my ferrets and be rich.
Because there's, like, this old cliche that, like, oh, if you just give somebody, like, a puppy or a kitten, a nasty person a puppy or a kitten, they'll just, like, soften immediately. But I think, like, giving them a ferret, like, you could, like, definitely make the case for that. Like...
Yeah. No.
Well, we're going to talk a lot we're going to talk a lot about ferret character and personality in this. So
yes, we will.
And you'll like, Jonathan. So I am not an expert on this subject. Jonathan owns 4 ferrets. I own none. But I have experienced Jonathan's ferrets at length, and every time I experience them, I learn more and appreciate them more. When it comes to movies, ferrets are a very limited, exclusive subject. I mean, there's very, very little in the cinematic canon having to do with ferrets.
Yeah, like we have one movie to talk about at length, which is the BEASTMASTER, and then a group of short films made in Canada that are exclusively created for the purpose of putting ferrets in movies almost.
Yeah.
And then, like, I have some other ferret things in movies to mention, and that's all we got.
Yeah, it's like there's there's a couple brief cameo appearances that ferrets have made in a couple movies, and then there's like the Beastmaster films which prominently feature ferrets, and then there's some short films, and that's like it.
That's it. That's all you get for ferrets. And then there's kind of Never-Ending Story, but that's not really a ferret.
But I'm going to kind of start this off. So, I have this book. It's called Picking Your Pet. And so it's like sort of like an encyclopedia of potential pets. So it's sort of like a book that you would give a kid who like wants to get a pet. And there is an entry on ferrets here. So I kind of want to start this. I don't know about copyright infringement or whatever, but I'm just going to read. I'm just going to read it. So I'm going to read the entry on ferrets to introduce this episode. All right. The ferret is a close relative of the polecat and a member of the weasel family. Believed to have been domesticated at least 2,500 years ago, the ferret was probably first used for hunting rabbits or other small animals. With its long, slim body and inquisitive nature, the ferret is ideal for chasing rodents out of their burrows, but this practice is illegal in several countries. Ferrets are crepuscular, which means that they are most active at dusk and dawn. They spend up to 18 hours a day sleeping, but are extremely engaging, active, and energetic when awake. A ferret will commonly enjoy playing hide-and-seek with its owners. It is worth noting that ferrets do bite and should be monitored closely around young children. Due to a ferret's territorial nature, care should be taken when introducing new ferrets to a group. And then here's a little bit of like trivia about ferrets. The scientific name of the ferret is Mustela putorius furo. So the Mustela I understand because they belong to the family of Mustelidae. The Putorius, does that have to do with their odor? Because they are kind of skunky smelling. Then Furo, yes, they have a fury to them. Okay, size, 2 to 4 pounds, 20 inches long, including tail. So, like, ferrets are kind of like an ideal pet because they're really fun and engaging, and they're not, like, huge. Like, Like they're not this massive burden on your existence. So
I mean, they kind of are, but
well, they are, but like
certain
but in
ways.
an endearing way.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is interesting too. Distribution. Owning of ferrets is illegal or restricted in some countries and states, including California.
Fuck California. Go on.
California, Hawaii, Australia, and New Zealand.
Dude, fuck all those places. Like, literally, read that list again?
Yeah, owning of ferrets is illegal
Yeah.
or restricted in some countries and states, including California,
Okay, so fuck California. Go
Hawaii.
on. Fuck Hawaii.
Australia,
Fuck Australia.
and New Zealand.
Yeah, fuck New Zealand. Dude, fuck all these places.
But, well, let's speculate.
Fuck.
Like, I don't understand this. Like,
I looked it up. Okay, so I'll tell you the reason I think that I read that they gave is because they're afraid of. It sounds like you're farting.
I'm drinking out of the baby bottle.
I know. No, okay, so the reason they gave is like they're afraid of ferrets like going out into the wild if people release them, and then like forming families in the wild and shit. But I'm like,
what, and like killing birds and stuff, is
but
that
I'm
what
like,
it is?
but I'm like, what if you just neuter them or spay them? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like every ferret I've ever gotten has been like fucking neutered or whatever. Like these, like it's like legally, I think to sell them they have to be. So like they're not gonna go out into the wild and like have babies. It's literally impossible. So California, Hawaii, I think there's other states too. New Zealand, all these places suck ass. Fuck that, dude. You're done. You're dumb. They can't reproduce.
Can I ask you a question?
That's beside the point.
So are you saying like a ferret, a ferret couple that has reproductive capabilities, what, they're going to produce like a huge litter and start like a wild population? Like are they like really adaptable in the wild?
I don't know. I mean, but they can't because when you buy them, they're neutered and spayed. So they can't have babies. So if you introduce them to the wild, they're just going to fucking die and not produce offspring. That's what I mean.
Dude.
They might be able to adapt to the wildlife. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
So Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom seems like a cool guy. Like, you know, I think we need to petition this. Like, we need to legalize ferrets in California. Like, what the hell?
There's a new ferret law.
Like, what if you just decide you need to go to California, Jonathan?
Dude, there's a new law that is about to be passed. I think it passed the House and it's going to the Senate or whatever, where it's a bill all about these exotic pets, and one of them has to do with ferrets, and now they're trying to make it so that ferret breeders can't ship ferrets over state lines to sell them.
Yeah.
That's why? Why? What are you doing? Like, who cares? Who cares about shipping ferrets over state lines? Who gives a fuck, and why are you doing it? Whatever.
I don't, and honestly, like, I have to wonder, does anybody actually give a fuck? Like, I mean, if it was discovered that you were living in California and you had ferrets, like, what would you get fined or something? I mean,
they're not going to be able to have them because you can't live in an apartment complex.
What does that mean? So your pets would get confiscated?
Maybe a house.
Like, what would happen?
I guess technically, maybe. I have no idea. I mean, I know, like...
Dude, we need to, like, make a documentary about this. So, like, we need to, like, go and interview people in California who have ferrets who got busted and, like, find out what happened.
I'll tell you this. Getting into an apartment with a ferret, I had to make some bullshit doctor's appointment and, like, have them write me a note that, like, I lied and said I only had one ferret. But I said, like, it was an emotional support ferret.
Yeah.
So then I got a note saying I could have an emotional support ferret. And then I had to give that to my, like, landlord. And then she let me in. She didn't really seem to care. But, anyway. But, like, so, yeah, it would... I imagine California, if you say on the application you have a ferret, or if they discover you have a ferret at any point, they can just kick you out. So anyone in apartments or who is renting... just can't have ferrets, really. And then if you buy a house and you illegally acquire a ferret, I guess you could do that too. I don't know. Well, and that would be fine as long as you're not caught, I guess, maybe.
And I kind of have a question about this. It's like, what is the big deal about ferrets? Because, like, dogs, for example, like dogs are they're more dangerous. They're more destructive, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like, it's like you can have dogs wherever, but like there's like this like animus against ferrets that doesn't really make any sense to me, because what is the big deal? I mean, they're kind of mischievous, but they're not like, it's like they're not like hell beasts. I mean, they're
no, they're not.
They're just like cute little, like they're kind of like mischievous little kids. Like that's like what they are.
Yeah, I don't know why
I don't
they're
get
illegal in some places, but anyway.
But anyways, I need to finish this entry. So habitat. All right. So habitat of the ferret, domesticated. All right. And I'm going to talk a little bit after this is done about the mustelid family, because there's a lot to say about that. But all right. Diet: carnivore, low sugar, low fiber, and lactose free. All right, so they don't.
Hey,
no fruit, no milk.
Wait, didn't
no
one
candy.
of the movies they let the ferret drink milk? Anyway, we'll get back to that.
No,
later.
they let the ferret knock over a glass of milk.
It was drinking the milk. No, that's bullshit.
Dude, what's going on with the light in here?
I don't know. Fucking
dude, our podcast studio, aka Jonathan's car, sucks because the lights keep showing.
Here, I turned on my car.
Right.
It'll be on now.
And it does. After I'm done reading this, you can let the lights go out.
Oh wait, I don't have gas. Never mind.
Oh, breeding. Oh, okay. So this is the last thing in this ferret entry in this book. Breeding: 6 to 8 kits in a litter. Holy shit, that's holy
dude.
fuck.
I wish
we'll be on.
We'll
be talking about ferret babies later.
Oh, we will.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
6 to 8 kits in a litter. Pet neutering is highly recommended.
Well, yeah, they probably fuck a lot. Like, honestly, like...
Dude, if you had unneutered ferrets and they reproduced, you'd have, like, 15 ferrets. And then those ferrets would reproduce, and then you'd have, like, 35 ferrets.
Sometimes I just wish I had that many ferrets, but...
you gotta spay and neuter your ferrets if you have them.
Yep.
But, yeah, so this is, like, this whole episode is about, like, loving on ferrets, and I just... I have to do my, like, nerdy, like, zoology thing. My brother's a zoologist, so, I gotta go into this. Hey, Assam, if you're listening, I'm about to go into the mustelid family here. So, ferrets belong to the family of mustelids, which is a member of the carnivore, I believe that's called an order. So the order of carnivores has like bears, cats, dogs, and weasels. Okay. Basically mustelids. So the mustelid family, which the ferrets belong to, includes these amazing creatures. So it includes otters. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes otters. Minks. Badgers. Skunks. And raccoons. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people might look at mongooses and meerkats and think that they're mustelids, but they actually aren't. They belong to like a related but not the same family. But
okay.
But yeah, so like so weasels, minks, otters, badgers, skunks, and raccoons all
very
are
cute animals.
They're all very cute.
Yeah.
They're all very mischievous and silly and intelligent.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think
they kind of are. Yeah, they definitely are.
Like, that's one of the things I really like about ferrets. And, like, my ferret journey has been kind of interesting because, like, it was like maybe 4 years ago that I was 3 or 4 years ago that I went to Virginia. That was after our grandfather died. And then I went to Virginia to visit Jonathan. And, he introduced me to his ferrets. And I didn't know anything about ferrets at the time. Like, I've never really interacted with them, so I didn't know anything about them. It's been, like, a process of, like, understanding, like, the beauty and the humor and the intelligence and the charisma of ferrets. Like, I'm, like, learning, like, day by day. Like, every time I have the ferret experience, because Jonathan has 4 ferrets now. Oh. I think you had 3 when I
the
first
fourth
introduced them.
The new is a new addition.
Yeah, so
She's
like Jonathan
new.
has 4 ferrets, so like I'm getting like the full ferret experience when I go over to Jonathan's apartment and watch shitty movies, but the ferrets like make it interesting, and they have incredible charisma and intelligence and curiosity and inquisitiveness.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like they're just I have to constantly like change their environment slightly. Every few days I'll pick up the new bags on the floor that I threw down from the previous shopping trip and throw new bags on the floor. And then I'll like bring home something that like I think they'd like to fuck with, or like I don't know, I'll get like a new tube or something. Like you have to constantly change their environment to make them happy. I think at least because like they get kind of I feel like when I didn't do that, they got kind of bored of being out of the cage. Like, yeah, they'd sniff around, do their little shenanigans. But, like, when I just started, like, putting little new things in their environment, they, like, always get excited. You know, like, every time you bring over a backpack, that's the first thing they go to is the new backpack in the apartment. What is in the new backpack? I want to raid the new backpack.
This is kind of like, after experiencing Jonathan's ferrets for the first time, my impression of them was like this creature is somewhere between a cat and a dog. Now I'm going to change that. I don't really believe that anymore because ferrets are very unique. I mean it's actually not that, but I mean in a general sense, like it combines the kind of goofiness of a dog, the sort of goofiness and loyalty of a dog with like the sort of self-centeredness of a cat. But like that was like my first impression of ferrets, but now that I've like been around them more, they have a unique personality that's actually not really related in any way to either cats or dogs. I mean, they're very like distinctive personalities.
Yeah, I mean
the extreme inquisitiveness, like you get that with some dog breeds, but like the just like the constant need of a ferret when it's awake and energetic to just be into something, to just constantly be investigating something, like that is a unique trait to a weasel, to a ferret.
Yeah,
like it's just like cats aren't really like that, and dogs aren't either. Like dogs are investigative, but they're investigative when it comes to like sense. Honestly, like ferrets really aren't that cat-like.
they're not.
They're really not.
They're not just dicks. I mean,
Cats
ferrets,
are dicks. Yeah,
Ferrets
are they're sweet. Ferrets are sweet.
Yeah, like okay, so like if someone broke into your house and you had a cat and you had a ferret, neither of them would save your life. So I guess you could say they're like that. I do have cat toys that I buy, like the little, ball on a stick. Like they'll play with that. But besides that, I mean, they're not very
I will say, like the one thing that's very cat-like about ferrets is that their independence. They're very independent. They are very like
they don't really need you.
A ferret, a ferret is in constant pursuit of its own goals. It's not. Whereas a dog, dogs are very loyal and they're very concerned with their masters and pleasing their masters, and ferrets do not give a fuck about pleasing
ferrets like people though.
They like people, but they
don't want to please you.
They don't care about pleasing you.
They just want affection though. Like they follow, like sometimes they just follow, like Nymeria just follows me around. And like just like will stare up at me, and like so does Indy. They just like stare up at me, like lady. All of them do it. They just stare up at me, and like I know what they want. They want me to pick them up and scratch them and give them love, and then I do it. But then then they start squirming, and they're like, "I want to go now," and then they go about their business. Which this is a fun fact if you don't know anything about ferrets at all. Which is like a pack of ferrets is called a business of ferrets.
Another thing that we're going to reference later.
Another thing, we'll talk. Yeah. Should we get into the movies really quick? I mean, I could go on about ferrets all day. I love my ferrets.
Well, I'm kind of hoping, and you can edit this out, but hopefully, like this, like incredibly extended introduction will be edited down a little bit to be,
fuck that.
More interesting for the novice.
Fuck that.
All right,
No, you're listening
we're not
to
editing any of it
everything
out.
we say about ferrets, motherfuckers. All of you are listening. Anyway. We got to talk about the movies.
This is going to be, I already know this is going to be the longest podcast since the Cool Cat saves the kid.
It probably will.
Or,
Whatever.
No, I'm sorry,
There's
Cool Cat fights coronavirus.
Dude, there's like 5 ferret owners who like constantly Google for ferret videos that will somehow stumble on this and be entertained, so whatever.
Yeah, one more thing I have to say about like ferret pet ownership, because
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be obtaining a ferret, one
You
or
have
two
to.
ferrets of my own whenever I like live in a house
You
that
have to
actually
get
allows
2,
pets.
man.
But
Like,
I will say this.
no, hold on. You have to get 2.
I know.
You can't just get 1 ferret.
Well, because ferrets are sociable. They need companionship.
They want companionship.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, when you get
They
2
need
ferrets.
non-human companionship.
When you get 2 ferrets.
But I'm saying, yeah, the only like caveats that I will throw in for like people who are like, oh my god, ferrets. So in a minute, I'm gonna tell the story of like when I met my first ferret. But
Whatever. Who cares about the light?
I kind of like it.
Yeah, fine. I'll turn on the.
Just next time it goes out, I promise
It's
I
fine.
won't.
It's okay.
But I was just gonna say, ferrets do have an odor, but I actually like. I've come to like the ferret odor. Like, this is the thing. Like, it was a little bit like it was a little bit harsh on the nostrils at first, but like you come to appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
you know, that's actually like something I've read online that people talk about is like how like people start to like enjoy their ferret scent.
They're musky.
Now there's a fucking limit.
Dude,
like, I need to bathe them right now.
I don't know if I would go to the point where I would like get Jonathan $100 ferret scented cologne.
No,
But I mean, like, I kind of like the ferret scent. It's like skunky, but a little bit like a milder skunkiness. It's like
it's like musky.
It's kind of like a skunky scent meets weed. Meets
it kind of honestly
like,
they kind of smell like weed sometimes.
Meets like fresh piss, like not nasty stale like ammonia scented piss, but like fresh piss. So it's like imagine like fresh piss meets skunk odor meets like a nice joint, and like that's kind of like the ferret like aroma.
Yeah, and like if you're like, ew, fresh piss, ew. Like when you think about it, like when you piss in the toilet and you smell it, is it really that bad?
Well, if you're a healthy, properly hydrated
if
person,
you're like a healthy, properly hydrated person, and then you piss in the toilet, and like the whiff kind of goes up in your nose for half a second. It's like half of that. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
If you bathe your ferrets every week or two, and then like clean their cage and clean up their accidents, like it's like that. It's like half of that smell. And is it really that bad for fresh piss?
Yeah. And,
I don't think so.
And like a couple years ago, like when I was like, oh my god, I gotta go over to Jonathan's apartment and I'm gonna smell ferret smell. Like I used to think that. But, like, now, when I go over to Jonathan's apartment, I'm like, I'm going to smell the ferrets. And I don't mind that. Because I kind of like it.
You grow to like it, man.
Yeah.
I think it's also, like, you just grow to love them. And you're just like, I don't care. They're so cute. And I grow to love their scent.
It just gives you, like, and you're like, I'm home. Like, when I go there, I'm like, this is like, it's like, I know there's ferrets around. And they're kind of stinky. But it's not a bad stinky. It's like a cute kind of like, musty, stinky.
Dude, somehow, even when like I bathe them, they still kind of smell like, like a little bit. Like it's just a part of who they are,
Well, they're ferrets, and it's
they do. Here's a fact. So the ferrets that I get, that you get any Petco or whatever, because I think Petco's one of the only ones that sells it, one of the main chains, because PetSmart doesn't. But they actually get their stink sacs removed. Now, if they didn't get their stink sacs removed, whenever like they would be triggered, they would be able to like release a worse scent,
right?
Like a skunk, right? So it's not that bad. So it could be much worse,
I'm like curious if there's like some kind of like ferret or weasel or polecat out there that like other than a skunk that can like emit like an extreme version of the ferret scent, because like
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they're musky animals, and I will say there's an animal that like takes the ferret scent to like the next level, and that's like a fox. Have you ever been to like a fox exhibit in a zoo?
No.
Dude, that's like, if like imagine like your ferret's like stinkiness like times 10.
Yeah.
And like we're talking about like outdoor exhibits. So like outdoor fox exhibits like exude the ferret stench times 10.
You know what's funny?
They're really musky.
So like one of my dream pets, like, okay, besides ferrets, I love
love
ferrets, but like my ultimate dream pet is a fox.
Yeah.
Like one day I will own a fox, and I don't give a fuck. Like, I will own one. I don't care how bad it smells. I'll bathe it. It's fine. But I want a fox, because I heard they're actually like a cat meets a dog. And
foxes are wonderful.
Dude, I follow this Instagram account of this like girl that has like a pet fox, and it's so fucking cute. I can't. Like, it's too much. But I'll get some ferrets. I feel like at this point in my life, like, you know, maybe I'm looking a little ahead, but I think I'll always have a ferret or two. I don't think I can live without a ferret. They bring so much happiness. They're not really hard to take care of because they sleep so much. So it's not like you constantly have to take them out. You just have to let them out for like a chunk or two of your day. But that can be at the end of the day.
It just seems like they're like a mild pain in the ass, but it's just like it seems like it's just worth it because they're so fucking cute.
I mean, honestly, after you ferret proof your house or like apartment or whatever, it's fine. Like, once you like, there's some kinks to work out. So like, what I'll do when you get your 2 ferrets, before you plan to do that, I will come over to your apartment and I will like go through the whole thing and see like, okay, what can they get into that they shouldn't? How do we fix that problem? Like, for example, my ferrets like to get behind the fridge at one point, and when they got behind the fridge, there's like that little fan at the bottom of the fridge, and they would constantly just like not give a shit and just like jump into the fan, and you would hear like the fan noise like go like sputter. It would go like like as the ferret went through, and then they would like sleep in the fridge. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is in there. I don't like that. So like I took this like outdoor chair and like stuffed it in the crevice between the fridge and the wall, and like that's how they don't get back there. So like I'll do shit like that to your apartment, and then like you won't have to deal with that as much. But yeah, there is going to be like some growing pains, if you will, of like, oh shit, where are they? And then like 3 hours later, they'll randomly appear, and you'll be like, where did you go? Yeah, it's going to be like that at first.
I'm going to be delegating a lot of these like ferret proofing responsibilities. I'm delegating it to the kids because
I think that's a good idea, actually.
Dude, yeah, they need to learn some responsibility. And honestly, this is like a strange thing to say, but like neither Alice nor Julian has ever actually had a pet.
Well, Julian has a dog.
Well, he has a dog, but I mean, I'm talking about at my house. Like, we've never had a pet.
I think that's good. It teaches them to respect animals. It teaches them responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a ferret's perfect for that, for learning those things.
It really is. I mean, yeah, because you could teach them how to clean their fucking litter box. You could teach them how to train an animal, because you have to kind of train them to use the litter box, which I'm still in the process of doing for that baby ferret I got a month or 2 ago. She does not want to use that fucking thing. She will go next to the litter box, but she doesn't want to go in the litter box. Like, she's like almost like a prude almost. Like, she's like, I'm too good for the litter box. It's disgusting. It's like, no, it's not. There's like 2 pieces of shit in it. Just go in there, you fuck. But you have to like train them. So like,
yeah.
Next week on my break, what I'm going to do is like take her, and I'm going to get like a small cage, and I'm just going to put that on the coffee table. And it's going to be a bed, water, food, and then the fucking litter box. And I'm literally just going to, like, sit there on the couch the entire weekend and, like, watch her. And every time she goes to shit somewhere that's not that, I'm just going to pick her up, put her in the litter box. And then, like, when she succeeds, I'll give her a treat and, like, cuddle her. And then I'll let her out and stuff like that. But besides that, like, that's her experience next weekend. Because I swear to fucking God, if she goes next to the litter box and just piles up shit there one more goddamn time, I'm going to lose my mind.
All right.
So anyway, yeah. I'm probably going to cut that out.
No, don't cut it out. Because all of this... Oh, okay. If you listen carefully enough to this... This will all come into play when we talk about the potentiality of ferrets as movie stars. Ferrets are incredibly undervalued as potential cute animals in family films and in, just in movies in general. I mean, you just don't see ferrets in anything. You have a lot of cute dog movies and cute cat movies, but you just don't have ferret movies. It just doesn't happen, man.
That's
so
true.
We're about to talk about everything we could find.
There's a Wikipedia list of fictional mustaloids. Kyrano, the ferret in Starship Troopers, he was the pet of Carl Jenkins and was able to communicate suggestions to Kyrano psychically.
It's Serrano.
Serrano? Oh, I don't know. Whatever. What? I don't know.
Ain't doing it more, Scotty.
Whatever. Ewok pets. This I didn't remember. So it was a ferret in Star Wars, the first one. While numerous ferrets appear in the Ewok village in multiple Star Wars films, books, and video games, where they all are pets of the Ewoks, they are most prominently found in Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure, which I don't know what that is.
Oh, I've heard about that.
What is it?
I guess we need to watch that.
I guess. Dude, is this some straight-to-DVD Ewok shit? Oh, God.
It is.
Oh, no. No. Ain't doing it. I said I was done with Star Wars, so I technically don't need to watch that. We got Kindergarten Cop as... Okay, it's the ferret as a ferret. The ferret goes everywhere with protagonist John Kimball, which I don't think I've seen Kindergarten Cop. That's the Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's, kid movie.
Dude, wait, Arnold Schwarzenegger had a ferret in that? Yeah. Okay, fine, I'll watch it.
I have a ferret!
I have a ferret. Oh no, Inkheart. Gwyn in Inkheart. Dust Fingers. Who wrote that name? What the fuck is Inkheart again? Isn't that some bullshit, teen, oh God, the movie has Brendan Fraser in it.
We need to watch all of these films.
Okay, yeah, okay. In the original book version of Inkheart, Gwyn was a marten rather than a ferret. Okay, so the movie actually improved upon that.
Like a pine marten.
Yeah, but the ferrets are probably better. I'm going to try to pronounce this name. Pantalaimian? Pantalaimian.
I don't even know what that is.
From the Golden Compass. The sidekick of the protagonist, usually called Pan, is a
demon.
Demon who frequently takes the form of an ermine.
Oh, an ermine's a little weasel.
Okay, all right.
It's like a mini ferret.
I don't know. Oh, dude, I know what this is. Pip and Pop, they're otters. Okay, that's otters. Poto from Beastmaster, which we'll come back to.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Beastmaster.
Yeah, Rodolfo the ferret from Along Came Polly. Which, have you seen that movie?
I haven't.
Dude, it was like Polly's ferret. Wait, hold on. I don't think I've seen Along Came Polly. John Hamburg. Oh no, Jennifer Aniston with a ferret. That's triggering. Anyway, let's see. Smartass, Greasy, Psycho, Wheezy, and Stupid were the weasels in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Well, those are weasels. Now, that being said, ferrets appear as companions of at least two characters in the Harry Potter film series, but they are not explicitly named. So if you remember that scene where Draco Malfoy was turned into a ferret, and, the cute little ferret, they pretended they were, lifting the ferret up and down in the air with the wand, and the ferret was just, flopping up and down in the air, and it was really cute. An unnamed ferret also appears in The Prancing Pony and Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which I did watch the extended cut of recently, and it was a very cute ferret, and it was all too brief. Who
did you watch the extended cut with? Who did you watch that with?
Oh, me and Shane watched all 3 of them all day long. It was amazing.
And did he appreciate the ferret action as much as
He did. He got excited.
Would?
He was like, Jonathan, look, a ferret. And I'm like, what? And I got very excited. Okay, now let's get into the film section.
There's really only one film so far that you and I have discovered that prominently features ferrets, and that is Beastmaster.
Yep.
From 83. It is a I'm not going to say it's not actually a rip-off of Conan the Barbarian. It's different enough that I won't call it a rip-off. It's a movie that was made in 1983, which is a year after Conan the Barbarian was made. That kind of was like meant to exploit the whole like barbarian craze of the early 80s. But it does its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Singer, the actor who portrays the barbarian in the film, has 2 traveling companions, both of whom are ferrets.
So I guess the concept of Beastmaster is he's this guy is like the master of beasts. He can like control all animals, and they like make him his friend.
Well, I wouldn't say he controls all animals, but he
befriends them.
He has a telepathic connection with animals, and the animals that he has telepathic connection with include an eagle, a panther,
an eagle/vulture.
Yeah, an eagle/vulture, depending on the stock footage that's used, and a panther and a couple ferrets.
Now, while the panther may come into effect here and there, while the eagle, I'll say more so, comes into effect, the real hero of this movie are the 2 ferrets who are named, I think, Podo and Kodo. So we got, Podo and Kodo. So, yeah, they save this guy's ass like 3 fucking times, okay?
Yeah, they do.
They like... Now, you might just say, like, okay, in reality, like, they're really just plot devices, which is kind of true. But when you make a plot device that cute, does it really matter? I argue no. When it's the ferrets stealing the keys or, like, rescuing him from, like, the pit of, or the, the sinking sand or whatever, or, like, attacking the, like, evil, like, Stephen Molyneux figure. Like, yeah, it's a plot device. It's just something to, like, throw in there to make an easy escape. But it's really fucking cute.
There's a lot of scenes in Beastmaster where it's like, if the ferrets weren't there...
He'd be fucked.
To do what they did, like, Beastmaster himself would have been fucked. He would have been killed, or he wouldn't have been able to, like, achieve what he was trying to achieve. And, like, the ferrets are like these, like, they're like these, like, intelligent, mischievous little minions. What I love about it is the ferrets in the movie are just being ferrets. Like, it's like, it's almost like they don't even know that they're, like, being heroic. They're just like, I'm gonna do ferret things. But, like, them doing ferret things, like, bails out their barbarian master.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, so, like, there's a scene where they, like, he sends them down to steal the keys. So she's like, how are we gonna get those keys? And he's like, we need to leave it up to the thieves. He, like, hoists the ferrets down, like, this rope and, like, this thing, and then, like, the ferrets get out, and then they just, like, run around being cute ferrets, and then they, like, steal the keys and, like, bring it to him so he can escape or whatever. And there's one scene, like, where it's, like, the big finale, right? And they're, like, trying to escape this, like, fortress or whatever. And there's, like, this rope that needs to be cut in order for them to escape. So he, like, sends the ferrets, and the ferrets just climb down the rope, and then they start like biting the rope, and that helps them escape, and like it closes the gate of all the enemies, and they can like run off free. So it's like the ferrets are just doing ferret shit. They're biting shit, they're stealing things, but like it helps them, you know?
Yeah, it's like a movie where just like the mischievousness of ferrets is channeled in such a positive direction that it's like the ferrets literally save the day. And I'm not going to give it away, but there's like a little bit of sadness with the ferret story towards the end. But like they're heroes. They are true heroes in this movie. Heroes. Like
yeah.
And this movie honors them too. And
yeah, it does.
Honestly, anybody who like comes at Beastmaster and is like, they were abusing the ferret, this is animal abuse, that's bullshit. Like those animals in the movie, they were having the time of their lives. Like they were having fun.
Okay.
You could just tell every time the ferrets were on screen, they were just like having a blast. I mean, you could just tell.
They were, except for one scene, okay?
The throwing.
No, ferrets kind of like that a little bit.
Okay.
Like if you just like pick up a ferret and like toss it onto the bed, like it's like, what? And then all of a sudden it gets excited.
So you're actually saying there was a scene in Beastmaster where you felt like the ferret was not having a good time?
Yeah, and that was during the quicksand scene. I don't think that ferret was enjoying that shit.
Yeah.
It looked triggered.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
that was kind of in it.
That was kind of all. But like at the end of the day, like in every other shot of the movie, the ferrets were having fun.
Look, maybe they like made that ferret endure the quicksand for like 20 seconds, but then they probably gave it lots of cuddles and treats and were like, I'm so sorry I did that to you.
By the way, don't throw your ferrets. I know I just said some of them like it, some of them don't. Well, the ferret throwing scene, dude, there was like 3 cuts in there. I don't think they actually like threw a ferret that far at all. Like,
no, like when they did the ferret throwing scene, when I saw the ferret that was being thrown, it looked like it was having fun. Like it didn't. Yeah, it didn't look triggered.
There was like upset. A ferret that was shot as jumping, then there was a cut, and then there was a ferret like flying through the air, but obviously between 2 very close people, like tossing the ferret. Like it's fine. Like whatever.
I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah, like
that was nothing.
Yeah, but I was reading some people online like complaining that Beastmaster was like abusing the ferrets. I'm like, dude,
people online are gonna complain about everything.
That's true. God. But yeah, besides that, like the film really does honor the concept of ferrets. It uses their mischievous and like their thievery and uses that as plot points. And like I think it, by the end I felt like this movie, like obviously whoever had a hand in this movie knew a lot about ferrets.
It kind of like what I thought at the end of watching Beastmaster again. And honestly, I haven't seen the movie in a long time. It's probably been like more than 10 years since I've seen it. Mm-hmm. And then I brought the DVD over to Jonathan's apartment. And I was like, we need to watch this because there's ferrets in it.
By the way, a fun fact about the movie, because I looked it up afterwards. Yeah, afterwards, I'm just like, I need to own this movie on the 4K Blu-ray they released. I need this film. And so I purchased it. But I looked up, and evidently, they used 20 ferrets, okay? So they had 20 ferrets that looked very much alike, that they had trained to do certain shit. So, like, one of them would be, like, trained, I don't know, to climb down the rope. One of them would be trained to grab the keys. One of them would be trained to, like, jump in certain ways, like...
Right.
Or whatever. So, but then evidently, like, I forget who it was. I think it was the writer of the film who was on set during filming, liked the ferrets so much that he, like, kept 2 of them for himself. But yeah, I love Beastmaster. I think it's a fun fantasy film. If you like it was made in the 80s, like early 80s.
83.
83, yeah, 83.
Right after Conan.
If you like the kind of like sci-fi fantasy, if you like stuff like Deathstalker, check it out.
Well,
it's a fantastic little fantasy film. It almost would be family friendly if it weren't for like the tits that they show.
Well, there's also like the Anna villain who like sacrifices children by throwing them into like a fire. Like
the Stephen Molyneux-esque like cultist leader.
Yeah, there's like a Stephen Molyneux cult thing that's in
So when are you gonna show this to Julian? I feel like Julian needs to watch Beastmaster very soon.
He needs to see it.
I don't care if there's tits in it. How old is he? 12? He can see like a pair of tits on the screen, right? Like that's okay.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, the boobies are only shown for like.
Yeah, it's like 0.5 seconds. He's probably about to go through puberty anyway. Like, whatever.
Well, Well, he's just gonna be like, "Oh my god, boobs," and then.
Yeah, and then there's like 4 ferrets. And then it's fine. Whatever. Yeah, there was a kind of rapey scene in it though, where like, remember when he pretends to save Tanya Roberts from like his panther? He's like, I know how you can repay me, and then he just starts like manhandling her and like kissing her. That was a little yeah, that was bad. That's a teaching moment. We can tell Julian like that's not what you do ever. Don't ever do that. Yeah, that was really the only like cringe part of the film, you know?
Well, it's either like the 80s had different standards about that, or maybe like it was a commentary on like sexual standards in barbarian times. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
There is a TV series. I don't know if it has ferrets in it. And there is a Beastmaster 2.
Dude, there's 2 others. There's Beastmaster 2 and like Through the Portal of Time, which you either buy the VHS tape or you get on like a bootleg DVD, which I will be doing. And then there's evidently a Beastmaster 3.
No.
Which is probably awful and probably doesn't include
The only things I know about Beastmaster 2 and 3 is Beastmaster 2 had Robert Zadar in it. And has
oh no.
There's like a time travel element to it.
Yeah, it's like I think it's capitalizing off Back to the Future.
Yeah, but I do believe so it's like Back to the Future meets Conan. I think it has ferrets in it. I don't know.
If it doesn't have ferrets in it, it's not worth watching. I think actually the Wikipedia article said it had ferrets in it.
I think it I think you told me that.
Yeah, it says they also appear in Beastmaster 2 Through the Portal of Time. So yeah.
All right, so like
so we need to watch it.
Beastmaster 2 does have ferrets in it. It also has it does have Robert Zadar in it.
Ferrets and Robert Zadar I can get down with.
Yeah.
Beyond that, like can we get off Beastmaster? Or do you have anything else to say about Beastmaster?
I don't really.
I recommend it. I got 4K Blu-ray. I'll be watching it again soon because it's really fun. Alright, so now that we kind of went over Beastmaster, 1983 film, we were intrigued. We wanted to see, okay, what other movies predominantly feature ferrets? So, we went on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. A lovely place with only high-quality art films. And we Googled, we looked up ferrets. Now, we noticed 4 films, all kind of looked like fun little kids things with ferrets, and they were all short films. Now, only the trailers were available, okay? So, I wanted to investigate further. Graham, you wanted to investigate further. So I looked it up, and the only way that you can watch them at this point is with an Apple TV subscription or an account, and then you have to pay like $3 a pop for these movies. Right. So I did it. I did it. I checked it. I made the necessary purchases.
So with tax, you paid about $15 so that we could get about an hour's worth of short films about ferrets.
Yes, that's basically what I did.
Let's also not forget, I mean, this is just like a side note, but we also did find part of an episode of some show called like Rocky Mountain Veterinarian or something, and there was like a ferret that like got sick, a little cute white ferret that got sick, by doing a thing that only ferrets do, and that had to be taken into the veterinary hospital.
Yes.
And its name was Bear.
Yes.
Remember that?
It was very
and
cute.
We watched that. So we watched like a ferret like in a veterinary documentary.
Yeah, I guess before we get into like any of these short films, that's really it. Like we saw there was like an animated ferret documentary, but I don't think it was ferrets. I think it must have been like another musceloid. So I don't know.
Yeah, I will say this, and just as a general thing, like I enjoyed the short films, but I will say this: the only thing that we watched that I felt really properly utilized for the ferrets was Beastmaster. I thought they were underused in these movies. Like their potential was unrecognized.
So let's start with the first one we watched of these. So first of all, they're all distributed by Indie Can, which is some distributor in Canada who I guess specializes in taking little films like these and like putting them on Amazon Prime for you. Kind of like what I would imagine what Podbean does for us and our podcast. Like it just kind of puts it places and that's it, So I guess that I don't really know. I forget the production company that actually made them, but they're all created by this woman named Allison Parker, who has a ferret named Jasper, who shows up, and I believe, in all of these movies. So, so the first film that we watched was called Santa's Little Ferrets.
I liked that one.
Which I thought was adorable. Now, was it good? I mean...
Dude, like...
No, but, like, also kind of yes.
It was charming.
It was charming,
humorous.
yes.
And, like, also, I remember you pointing out, and like, when I started paying attention and looking out for this, it was like, wow, he's right. Like, so, basically, the premise of Santa's Little Ferrets is, like, it's a dad, like, telling his kids a goodnight story, like, on the night before Christmas. But, like, the kids, like, instead of just, like, enjoying and appreciating their dad's efforts to entertain them, they just, like, relentlessly critique and deconstruct everything that's, like, wrong with his story.
Yeah, they're just like, that's oxymoronic. Like, oh, Dad, why are there always 3 characters in your stories? Like,
Yeah,
it was
like,
kind of,
wow, these
it was
kids
funny.
are kind of brats. It's like, what, you have, like, a dad who's cool enough to, like, tell you a story about Santa and his ferrets instead of, like, some stupid elf and reindeer shit. I mean, that's kind of cool.
I mean, he could have slogged it. Like, he could have been lazy and just, like, told the Rudolph story or, like, Frosty the Snowman. But no, like, he was inventive, and he's like, no, I'm going to make it about ferrets, even though I don't think they have ferrets. Anyway.
No, they didn't. And what was also clever about it was that, like, he was able to sort of make the case for, like, ferrets being better helpers than reindeer or elves would be.
That's
because,
true.
like, yeah, like, he had them doing, like, ferret-like things to help Santa.
Yeah, so, like, it was cute, so... They put the ferrets in a bag and they lowered them down the chimney. And then they all popped their little heads out of the Santa bag. And they all have their specialties. So one of them is like a tech wizard, quote unquote, who like steals people's cell phones so they don't take photos of Santa.
Right.
And then
which
like,
is, I love that because this literally happened to me when I was at Jonathan's apartment. One of his ferrets dragged my smartphone underneath the couch and like into her little lair where she stashes objects that she steals. And like we had to like go way under the couch to like retrieve my phone from her.
Yeah, I mean, so that's ferret-like. Then there was one that I guess was, they used a ball that poofs out ferret sleep powder on like animals. I don't know.
Yeah, that one was a little bit strange. And then
I
what
don't
did the
remember
third one
what
do?
the third one did.
Oh.
It was probably just cute or something. I don't know. But the point is that like he added something to the tired old like Santa Claus myth that it kind of made me feel like, like I kind of like Christmas again. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to tell, like it gave me an idea. I'm going to tell, if I have kids, I'm going to tell my kids about the Santa ferrets. Like, I'm not going I'll mention the reindeer and shit. I'm going to be like, no, what you really got to look out for is Santa's little ferrets, dude. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that.
You can practice that on like the Wiz here. Like you can tell Alice and Julian like a ferret story on the night before Christmas and see what they think.
And we did show it to a child, and she loved it.
Oh yeah, she watched it with you.
So she loved Santa's Little Ferrets. I thought that was the best one because it had 3 ferrets first of all. So the more ferrets, the better. It gave me something I will do to my for my children, which is tell them about the Santa ferrets. And it was kind of bad and funny, too. So, like, I give it a positive, recommendation. If you have kids and they like ferrets and you want to kill 12 minutes before bedtime or something,
I have one side observation to make about it, too, which is I don't normally like animals being dressed up in costumes, but in this particular case, like, they put these, like, red Christmas bows around the ferrets' necks, and it was really cute.
Yeah.
Like, it worked. It worked. Because I don't like it when somebody takes like a wiener dog and then they put like a stupid Christmas sweater on it or whatever. I don't like that shit. But it was the ferrets with the bows were cute.
Yeah. So we watched that one, and then the next one up on the list was Dude, Where's My Ferret? Which
I kind of loved that, but also it was so fucking stupid.
Well, I have to say, like, so all these movies we're talking about are kids' movies. Except for this one.
Right.
So I can't imagine some family seeing, like, Santa's Little Ferrets and then, like, that stupid magic ferret one. And then they're like, oh, Dude, Where's My Ferret should be fine. And then there's just this bog that's, like, swearing at him.
Yeah, it's like a cynical, like, George Carlin type bong that was, like, cursing out this dude.
Like, okay, so it did have a ferret. I guess the story was really weird, didn't make much sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even really remember what the ferret had to do with the story exactly.
I do. So, okay, this is what happened. So this, like, stoner loser, like, has to somehow give 2 months' rent to his landlord, and he needs to get $1,000 by the end of the day, and then he's like, oh, I need to get to this contest where you win $1,000, but I don't have a car. And then the bong yells at him to ask the hot neighbor girl for a ride to it. But she's like, I have something to do first and watch my ferret. And so it's like, then it's like ferret shenanigans. And then like she comes back to get the ferret and then they make out.
And then she gives him a check for $1,000.
Yeah, and then
he gets the money.
Yeah, no, but the ferret helped. So the ferret found this random $1,000 check somewhere and brought it to her. To give to him.
Oh, okay.
So the ferret saved the day.
Okay, I had forgotten that detail. Well, this is one thing I noticed while we were watching these is I'm like, man, like, even though these are kind of bad in some ways, like, they're painless because they go by so quickly.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, wow, movies should just, in general, just be shorter.
I agree.
Like, why do you need to make a movie 90 minutes? It doesn't need to be. Like, if you only have 10 minutes of story, then make a 10-minute movie.
I will say about these movies, even if, I think they're competently made enough. The acting department could use a little better. Or, like, maybe some of the production. Like, it's obviously, like, an indie film, right?
Yeah.
But it does know what it is. It knows, like, okay, we can't go on for, like, more than, like, 25 minutes. Because I don't think any of these were
the longest one was 25, and that was, like, the one...
I don't even think it was. I thought it was shorter. Like, said it was 25, and then we put it on, and it was, like, 17 minutes or something.
Yeah, the one about the bullied kid I thought was supposed to be the longest one, but it turned out to only be, like, 15, too, right?
Yeah, they were all really short. And, all these movies that, like... Okay, I understand, like, the new Batman movie is 3 hours. Fine. Whatever. But if you're making, like, any of these new kids movies that come out, and they're more than, like... they're more than, like, 80 minutes, like, you really need to have a case for why that is.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm like a Calvin, where I just turn movies off if I get bored or I'm done with them.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't watch all these, like, movies that think they need to be longer than they should be.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I really liked about these ferret films, is that we didn't have to even worry about it getting bored and having to shut it off, because they were all quick and painless.
Yeah, it was really, like, they weren't great, they weren't amazing, but, like, They had a cute ferret, and it was like 10 minutes, and then you're done.
Now, I have to say, so the third one that we watched, I felt like that was A, the strangest one, and B, like the worst because of the
magic
kid
ferret.
in it.
Dude, the magic ferret was a piece of shit. I hated
that was
one.
not good.
Okay, they got like the most obnoxious kid to be sad at an orphanage. Oh my god.
Dude, yeah, it was like weird too. I mean, it's like this is not how like kids get selected or rejected for adoption. Like whether or not they can do a magic trick successfully with a ferret.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like maybe he was just like okay, so the kid was trying to get adopted by this couple. But like maybe he just set up the whole magic trick thing and he was just like, "Oh, I'll do a magic trick to get adopted." But it really did seem like he had to put on some sort of presentation for these people.
Yeah, and which
was weird.
Even the resolution of it was kind of like the couple eventually accepted the kid and adopted him, but it was basically like, we're adopting you because we like the ferret.
Yeah.
Not because we actually care about you. It was like, you can come along, but what we're really interested in is this awesome ferret.
Well, yeah, I like this. I like this scene where he's in the office with like the lady who runs the orphanage, and then he's like, "Why didn't they like me? Why didn't they pick me?" And then she was like, "Well, maybe they just wanted someone older or something, or a girl." And then the couple come in to talk to the lady about the actual kid they wanted to adopt. And then that stupid little kid is there. And they're like, oh, hey, Timmy. This is awkward. Do you want to show us your magic trick again? And then he's like, okay. And then, they do the magic trick without the ferret. By the way, he keeps blaming the ferret for the trick's failure. Even though the trick is him putting a ferret in a box and expecting the box not to move. Little dipshit kid. You're like, yeah, dude, he was blaming the ferret for why he wasn't being adopted.
Right.
It's like, maybe it's because you're an annoying little twerp, but whatever.
Yeah, that kid just pissed me off. I didn't like his voice or his attitude or anything about him. I was kind of rooting for him to not get adopted.
Well, my favorite part was the end where they're adopting him maybe, and then they're like, well, your ferret, the ferret's the swim, right? And they're like, yeah, well, maybe we have a pool. Maybe you could, maybe the ferret could come over and swim in the pool. Almost like they're not inviting him. And then they're like, oh, you can come too.
Right.
It's like, wait, why didn't you? So really, I think this family wants the ferret. They don't. That was kind of
what was implied there.
I don't know.
That one was strange, and then I feel like the last one that we watched, which was more of a dramatic Lifetime movie type, real life thing. But I think it was the same kid except just a couple years older.
I think it was too.
Yeah, because he was this was in the magic trick one, the kid was maybe 7, something like that, and then he was a preteen in he was 10 or 11, Julian's age in the last one. And his acting ability had improved somewhat, but he still wasn't very good.
So I guess the setup for Jasper, what is this one called? It was Jasper Adventure Ferret or something. Let me look.
I can't remember.
Hold on, I have it. It had a longer title. Jake and Jasper Ferret Tale. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's about Jake, this kid whose mom just died, and we know that because after being bullied in a really dumb way that would never happen, where he's surrounded by the entirety of the school yelling at him, he goes to the principal's office, and then his dad is there, and then the black principal dude is like, yeah, so I'm sending you to the retard school, but he's
basically, yeah.
But then it's weird because in that conversation it's never mentioned that they had problems with him before, it just sounds like, yeah, your mom died 6 months ago, and like you've been a brat, so we're sending you to a different school.
Yeah, you're going to the alternative school.
We have never had a conversation about this at all, but I guess we're just gonna do it. But like then in the next scene, they implied that they did have multiple conversations about it, and it just kind of felt like, well, it was just bad script writing,
really
but whatever.
Written.
Yeah. And then like this, like the daughter comes in, she's like, I'm gonna go like live with my boyfriend, but like here's the ferret, and I'm gonna like sing you a song that we like listened to when we grew up, and like bye. And then
yeah, all right. So yeah, it was just like everything about the setup of this story was just bizarre. Yeah, like so the sister's like, I'm moving out to be with my boyfriend, and I'm gonna give you a ferret, and then so the kid gets a pet ferret, and then what I remember after that is like, what is it? Somehow the kid ends up getting like stuck in a grain silo.
Okay,
like,
so
what the hell is going on in this thing? But and go ahead, you remember it better than I do.
I don't know how, but so he like,
well, because I was like annihilated and you were like relatively sober. But anyways,
yeah. So like he's driving with his dad, and the dad's like, you need to get rid of that rodent, and the kid's like, nah, he's not a rodent, he's a ferret. And then he's like, I hate you. And then he like jumps out of the car with the ferret and runs into the woods. And then there's like a stop that child Keith moment.
Stop him.
Stop that chat boy. And then you know, the little kid runs into the forest and then sees like this like white stallion.
Oh yeah.
And then like,
didn't he meet like there was like a raccoon and a skunk
then
too,
there was
and,
like
a wolf?
Yeah, there was then he ran into, well, I'll get to the wolf in a second.
It wasn't a wolf, but
it wasn't.
It's supposed to be one.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so like he sees the white stallion in the middle of the forest. Then he sees a skunk. Then he sees a raccoon. Then he sees an owl.
Yeah.
And then he sees a wolf. Like all in the span of like a minute, he sees all these creatures.
Yeah.
But okay, so the wolf. Okay, then he gets chased by a quote wolf, unquote, which is just the neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
So
it was like a German Shepherd.
It was a fucking German Shepherd or something. It's not a wolf, and it looked like it wanted to play with the kid, okay? So he's chased by this dog that's like, oh, we're playing chase. I want to play. Do you have a ball? I want to play. And like, he goes and like, he climbs up this ladder to this grain silo that's really short. Like, it's maybe like a foot or two above his head, the grain silo. So he climbs in that. And then he sings the same song to himself that the sister sang to him at the beginning so he could comfort himself.
Yeah, which you exactly predicted would happen. When the song was first being sung at the beginning of the short, you were like, he's going to sing it later. And then he did.
Yeah, so, I'm like, he's going to sing it when he's like being triggered and like sad somewhere in the middle of the woods. And then that's what happened.
Also, it's like, man, like, this kid's, like, has such a miserable life. Like, why, for example, why was his dad so determined for him to not have the ferret? I mean, like, you would think, like, a companion animal like that, like, would help a kid with emotional issues. Like, especially if it was, like, your own kid who just got told by the principal that he's going to be sent to the retard school. And, like, but his dad's like, no, I don't think you should have that ferret. So it's like, what? You know,
we're not being very politically correct. Maybe we should say alternative school.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I went to an alternative school. I don't know. Whatever. I think it's funny.
I really shouldn't be saying that either because I'm a teacher. But
it's fine. Whatever. Hey, I went to an alternative school, so I'm allowed to say it. Maybe
you're allowed to say it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really more so the
well,
the
see,
drug users / pregnant girl school.
My use of it isn't as a criticism of the kids who attend it. It's just like,
no, it's how they're treated.
It's like societal, yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, oh, we don't know what to do with you, so we're just gonna like put you in this like, you know, this special school.
Yeah. Oh, I loved at the beginning. We have to mention this. How like the dad's like, do you have like a guidance counselor or like a psychologist you can talk to? And he's like, no, just we're gonna send him away.
This is just one of those schools that just doesn't have a guidance counselor.
What? Anyway.
So this like last one just existed in this very strange universe where schools don't have guidance counselors and they just randomly kick kids into alternative schools. and where like the nearby forest has like wolves and wild horses and raccoons and owls and skunks just running around. And there's like a random grain silo in the woods.
Yeah, and then the ferret saves the day or whatever. I will say I liked. I mean, it was on the nose and obvious, but you know, it was kind of cute, kind of smart. Where like at the beginning, the ferret's like trying to take the kid's shoes away, and the kid's all mad and triggered, and like, "Nah, don't take the shoes." And instead of like putting them on a shelf or something like I do every day, he's just like puts them back, and the ferret keeps like grabbing them. But then at the end, to save the kid from the grain silo, the ferret has to like get his phone out of the backpack, and there's like a phone charm on it that's like a little shoe that looks like the kid's shoes at the beginning. Whoa, bookend. Look at that.
Now,
that was kind of cute.
What I love about these scenes is like somebody who's like not familiar with ferrets would like be like, wow, how did they train that animal to do that? But like, it's just a ferret being a ferret. That's what they do. They drag your shoes around and like steal your stuff. Like Jonathan's ferrets, every time I visit him, like are just determined to tear my shoes apart.
Oh,
that's
they
like
fucked
their
up
mission.
your shoes last night, dude.
Yeah. Well, those shoes. The reason that I didn't care about that is because those shoes were already fucked up by the ferrets. So it like they just further fucked up what they already had started. So, but normally, like if I take like a decent pair of shoes over, now I have to like hide them in your Leatherface laundry room.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because.
Go to the dentist.
Oh no! Have fun.
Just brush and floss.
Have fun.
Oh, you'll let me know if I have to get owls, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Keep your phone on.
I will.
I'm just over at Union and 19.
All right. Well, I think that's.
Depends.
Oh.
Did you pause it?
No, I didn't pause.
I think.
Sorry.
That's
No, you're
all right.
fine,
Jonathan
Jessica.
can edit it out.
Bye, Jessica. Have fun. Oh.
All right. So,
Anyway,
I think more or less that's like all I have to say about those.
they did take advantage of like the ferret knocking over glass of stuff.
Yes.
That was a motif, and all of them had.
All of them had just like a ferret like being mischievous and fucking around with a glass that had either water or milk in it, and then knocking it over.
Okay, one compliment I want to give to these movies. One last positive note on these movies. They made a ferret pun, and it was very punny. In the Santa's Little Ferrets, and they didn't draw too much attention on it, like when they named the ferret Bueller. Instead of that, they're like, and these ferrets are all business.
Right.
And like they didn't explain it. So like if you're in
it was
like
an
if you
in-joke for ferret owners.
If like you know what that is, then you laughed. So yeah.
And I have to say though,
Allison Parker needs to keep making these movies. Yeah,
I have to say that with regards to the Ferret Bueller thing, no, they didn't overstay their welcome with the business pun, but they did keep like the number of times that the name Ferret Bueller was repeated in that started to grate on my nerves. But
they even did the Bueller thing.
Yeah, that was
God. Anyway, I gotta say, like, I have to give it to this Allison Parker lady. Like, she, like, it's been almost 30 years since Beastmaster, and finally someone, even if they're just short films, is like recognizing ferrets need to be predominant in some of these films. Like these like little side bit parts they're given in like Harry Potter or like Starship Troopers or whatever, like that's all nice, but like there's so much there that you can draw upon to put in a film. Like there's no excuse why there aren't comedies with ferrets in them.
Yeah. These kind of like, maybe these
funny.
This series of shorts like maybe like sort of paves the way for one day like an actual full-length mainstream children's film that just features ferrets instead of the usual like, this movie has talking cats in it or this movie has talking dogs in it. Like maybe they can just like make an animal themed children's film that's just based entirely around ferrets. And how cute and funny and mischievous they are. Like,
if I went to the theater and they show trailers and I see these trailers for these fucking dog movies where, like, the dog looks at the camera and is like, oh, And like,
oh yeah,
if
like
that,
the Channing Tatum one.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
If that was,
dude, if Channing Tatum was playing with ferrets, like Jonathan and I would probably go see the movie.
Yeah, we would have seen the ferret Channing Tatum movie.
I wouldn't even care. But,
dude, what if they made like a Magic Mike sequel, but like he's like, oh man, I'm getting older. Like, how do I draw people in? But he's just up there stripping with like ferrets, and like the ferrets go and collect the dollar bill tips for him. Like, that would be fun. Like, I'd be down. I would watch like a homoerotic Channing Tatum stripper movie if it had ferrets in it.
There's just a lot of untapped potential, like both humorous and dramatic when it comes to ferrets. They're just like wonderful creatures. They're like little clowns.
They're like little clowns. They're so cute. And I miss my ferrets because I stayed here last night.
Oh. I don't have any ferrets.
That being said, they were out for like 24 hours the other day, so fucking up everything. So they're pretty tired. All right, so let's wrap this up. How about to wrap it up? How about can you tell the tale of the cute white ferret in Petco? I think that's a pleasant story that you fucked up last night. And
I did. Yeah, my introduction to like the beauty that is the ferret had to do with. And I have, like, major regrets about this, as well as fond memories. But this was, when I encountered my first ferret, this was a very old time in my life. Like, I was going through some very difficult emotional turmoil, and a ferret would have helped with that. It was just what I needed. And I was actually living in a place then that would have allowed me to have a ferret. So honestly, it was just simply my cheapness that prevented me from like obtaining this animal.
Ferrets used to be $200. Why didn't you just buy the fucking ferret?
Because I was cheap.
I mean, you could have got. I mean, the cage and all that shit. Yeah, but like.
Because I'm pretty sure this was right before you came to live with me. Actually.
Oh, dude, that would have made both of our lives amazing.
I know. Jesus, like we would have had such a better experience. There would be there probably the deck destruction probably would never have happened if I had that white ferret. Dude, but anyways. Yeah. So I was just like, I was feeling so I just wanted to see cute animals. So I went into a Petco, and like there was this little white ferret. They only had one ferret because usually the Petco they have like multiple ferrets, but they only had one, and it was just the most endearing, like charismatic, playful creature I'd ever encountered. So like I went up to like the ferret enclosure, and like the little white ferret. It just, like, jumped up, and it was, like, hanging from, like, the top of the enclosure and, like, poking its snout through the top to try to play with me. Aww. And, like, its little legs were, like, dangling down, and it was just so, like, friendly and cute, and I just, like, I fell in love with this animal. I mean, it was the most adorable thing. And I still have regrets about not buying it, because I actually talked to the Petco guy about it. Mm-hmm. And he like told me a little bit about ferret care, and he's like, these are high maintenance creatures. Like he's like, yeah, I know it's really cute, but like this is an investment. That's true. You're gonna go into this.
No, that's true. I guess to end this episode too on like a cautionary note, just because we're saying like ferrets are awesome doesn't mean if you're gonna get one you shouldn't do your research first, because evidently it's an issue where people go get a ferret because they think it's really cute, and then they're like, oh god, I have to take care of this thing and like ferret proof my whole house, and like, oh my god, and like I have to find an exotic vet to take it to and all this shit. Like, yeah, you're in charge of a fucking animal, dipshit. So like, yeah,
a very special animal.
A very special animal. Honestly, they're really. I mean, that guy was kind of being a little hyperbolic. They're not that hard to take care of. Just clean up after them. Play with them, love them, cuddle them. Make sure they can't get into shenanigans that could kill them, and you're fine, So yeah, I think on that note, whatever, more ferrets in movies, I think we're advocates for that. And until next time.
Also, if you're up for the challenge and you're looking to get a pet that your children will love and appreciate, that's kind of unique and different from the typical, like, slobbering dog, think about, consider the ferret.
Yeah, fuck cats. Get a fucking ferret. Ugh.
Well, yeah, you can't have a cat, but...
I'll have a hairless cat, but...
I still love cats, but, becoming, acquainted with Jonathan's 4 ferrets has really, gotten me to embrace their personality more so than I do a cat. cats are kind of aloof and they're kind of assholes, whereas ferrets are not assholes. Like, they can be a pain in the ass, but they're well-meaning. They just, like, all ferrets want to do is just have fun and investigate things. That's like the life philosophy of a ferret is that.
Is, like, sleep, and then sleep a lot, and then when you wake up, investigate as much as you possibly can, and take as many cool things as you can, and get as many cuddles as you can, and then fall asleep again for another 18 hours.
Dude, a ferret's life, it's almost like all of the sleep is like, it's kind of like that's the animal, like, recharging. So, like, you know, like, so, like, you have, and then it wakes up, and then you have this, like, brief burst where it's just pure, like, energy, and then it has to sleep for another 12 hours to recharge again. That's like,
kind of funny, because you know when my ferrets will, like, kind of put themselves flat on the ground for, like, a few seconds, and then get back up and run around? Yeah. So that's them, like, recharging almost. That's them, like, cooling down their body, and, like, taking, like, a second to rest, cool down their body, and then they get up and run around again.
Yeah, because, and you know, and compare that to cats, who, they sleep all the time too, but even when they're awake a lot of the time, they'll just sit there. Like, they're fucking lazy.
Yeah.
But ferrets are not lazy. They're just bundles of joyous energy, and I love them.
No, they're all business. Alright. Until next time, thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Yay. Oh, we did it.